Hello, my name is Donna Rodrigues, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the topics we covered in PR4. That segment was called Strategy Development. Throughout my presentation, I will be discussing the BCG matrix, the portfolio of brands, SWOT analysis, corporate and business level strategies. So if you go ahead and go to the next slide, you will see that I included the BCG matrix diagram that we created when we completed our research. This matrix is divided into 4 quadrants. They are called the stars, the cash cows, the dog, and the question marks. Now, many people don't know what these titles represent, so I'm going to go ahead and break that down a little bit. The first segment in the top left corner of the quadrant is called the stars. This quadrant represents profitable brands which have high potential for growth and a high growth rate as well as a high market share rate. If you go ahead and look right below it in the cow quadrant, you will find that there's a low industry growth rate with those brands with a slightly higher market share. However, some of them have high potential and may end up in the dog quadrant if there's not enough money invested in them, which I'll go ahead and explain what a dog quadrant represents. So a lot of times companies have a lot of properties that end up in the dog quadrant, and this is very risky because the dogs could just end up crashing at any given moment, and it's definitely the least attractive of all the quadrants. So in order to kind of prevent all of their brands from ending up as dogs, Hilton should go ahead and focus on Waldorf Astoria and try to get them more money invested in them, focus more on technology in hopes that they can move into the star quadrant. The last quadrant I'm going to discuss in the top right-hand side are brands that have potential to grow and could end up in the star quadrant. So yeah, overall, the Hilton has an abundance of dogs. It's the most prominent section in their BCG matrix at the moment, which it would be a lot more beneficial if we could get more of their brands into the stars, or at least the question mark quadrant, with hopes that they could end up in the stars. Next, I'm going to be talking about the industry segment analysis. What's kind of interesting about this slide is that the market analysis and the segment analysis definitely go hand in hand. If you look at the red arrows and the circled areas on the screen, they all correlate, and it is clear that the Hilton needs to work on their luxury upper scale and upper mid-scale properties. Because when you look at the competition comparison between what Hilton's booking and how many rooms their competition are booking, it's just night and day. So there definitely needs to be some improvements. Something that crossed my mind is, what do upper upscale, luxury, and upper mid-scale properties all have in common? Well, they're the nicer properties of the Hilton brand. I think the reason that these properties are kind of failing in their market is that upper and upper mid-scale and luxury properties, they're always evolving. Every company is jumping to outdo the other companies, and the standard changes every day. So in order for the Hilton to progress the way their competitors are, they need to improve technology. There's really no room for service errors once you get into those nicer properties, so they definitely need to focus on some higher levels of training and focus on their human resources to ensure that everything runs smoothly for their guests. And another thing to point out is making sure that pricing and location align. If you don't have the best location, you're going to have the best amenities, because you think of what guests look for when looking to book a luxury vacation. They want to be right where they're going to travel or where they're going to work. They want all of the amenities that the hospitality industry has to offer. And if you aren't able to provide these things, then your pricing needs to adjust accordingly. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over the SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What we did here is we broke down how utilizing artificial intelligence in place of traditional staff for Hilton properties, how that would affect their brand. Now, there's a lot of controversy on this topic right at the moment due to, the strengths would include that it would potentially increase productivity for the company. It might make check-ins and check-outs easier for guests, and it would require more technology, and it would be a lot of money up front. However, it could be more efficient if it's done right. Some of the weaknesses of this topic would be that some people could potentially lose their jobs, and it could hurt the reputation of the Hilton as a whole. Some opportunities would be that for those higher level, upper mid-scale luxury properties, it could put them in that next category. It could put them one step ahead of the competition for guests to want to stay with them. So that would be a huge opportunity, and it could increase their market shares. So definitely could be a good thing there. And some threats could be that technology could fail. What if it ruins the interpersonal relationships that guests have with staff? And it could also, like I said before, it could cause people to resent the brand for laying off so many people. So that was our SWOT analysis. And now the last thing I'm going to discuss is the corporate level and business level strategies. Some corporate level strategies that we recommend would be improving human resources, as I noted earlier. Investing in improved social media marketing. This is a huge one. It's the least expensive way to reach the most people, and it will help the brand to reach millennials and future generations. So it's very important for the future markets. And also to focus in international markets. Hilton is very saturated in the United States, and they are in 110 countries, but they're not really meeting the competition in other countries. So if they were to focus in those markets, there's a lot of room for growth for them internationally. Now, some business level strategies to focus on would be to improve on hiring techniques and training. That way they can ensure the best quality service for all of their guests. Investing in sustainability is huge right now. The smaller of the ecological footprint that Hilton makes, the more people are going to navigate towards them, especially future generations and millennials as well. And as I spoke about before, upgrading technology, which, as you know, has its strengths and weaknesses, but I think it is something that these future properties are going to have. So to stay and remain as a strong competition, that is something they're going to have to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to the PR5 lecture videos. Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your day.